Right, now let's talk about Steinhoff, because this is a very important company for most investors, including ourselves. We've got them in the portfolio. Remember the growth path here. Marcus Jooste has taken this one global. It's now really more European than African, and it owns brands like Conforama over there. It sources and retails furniture from all around the world. It's a household goods manufacturer, and it also has operations, of course, in Australasia. It's now in the United States of America with a business called Mattress Firm that they acquired. It incorporated Pepkor, and it is now in the middle of trying to do a complex transaction to put its African assets into a company called Retail Africa and merge those with Shoprite. Almost said Steinhoff Shoprite. Shoprite, okay? 291.8 billion rands. That's the value, the market cap here, but of course a lot of that holding is listed in Frankfurt, and we trade on a secondary basis down here. Price to earnings ratio only 13.76, dividend yield 2.65. So Chris, just in summary, how do you think the Shoprite thing's going to evolve, and what are you feeling about I just did it again.
Well,
Steinhoff.
Yeah, Retail Africa. I really hope it comes to fruition. I mean, it's a bold initiative, particularly when the rest of the African continent isn't doing so well. It's languishing a bit, okay? But that's perhaps a good time to do it, because it means that you're really going to clean up as far as the rest of the continent is concerned. So, look, we still don't know the finer detail, and it's still a ways off.
Because it's intended to be a process where they value both businesses, and then Steinhoff will get effectively new Shoprite shares for the business units that it puts into the new Retail Africa.
That's right. But, you know, I think we have to digress a little bit on this one, in the sense that if you go back, maybe say 10 years ago, Steinhoff really was a very badly misunderstood company. People really couldn't get their minds around the fact that they manufactured and they sold, you know, through retail outlets as well. And I think we're encountering a similar situation here. I don't think the market quite understands what they're doing. I mean, they're buying things like Pepkor. Now they're getting into the food business. What this is about is logistics in many ways. And it wouldn't surprise me.
So it's about procurement and retail.
Absolutely.
And the efficiencies that can be gained through distribution centres and clever
and you
buying.
put your finger on it, Paul. And it wouldn't surprise me if, with the affluction of time, that we see a greater commitment to parts of Eastern Europe. And not even necessarily just in this little part of it, or this big part of it, should I say, but maybe we're going to see them moving into the financial services area as well with Capitec, or a variant thereof. So I think there's an awful lot more going on in here. There's a lot of moving parts, but I think we're at the start of the story rather than the end of the story.
So what you're saying is people should just back Marcus Jooste and his strategic vision and his ability to, you know, deliver on that vision, because that's certainly been the case historically.
He's never let us down in the past.
Because what has he got? He's got the building blocks. He's got a European listing. He's got access to European capital markets. They can now go global, and they're doing global transactions at scale.
Yeah.
So one critical question for me, though, is do you think the separation of Steinhoff's African assets and the placement of those into Retail Africa, which will result in the Steinhoff Global having a big controlling stake, do you think that's a precursor to an eventual assimilation of the entire group, or do you think it's the beginning of trying to push the African assets out of the group? Because there are different views one picks up in the market about that.
I think at this point in time it's handy to ring fence Africa in many ways, because although 2 or 3 years ago Africa was flavour of the month, it's not looking nearly as attractive now in the eyes of the foreign investors.
Because of lower commodity prices.
Lower commodity problems with foreign exchange, this type of thing. So for the time being, I think it's a very, very handy repository. But it doesn't. It means that in due course, in years to come, nothing to stop you pulling that back again into the greater group in its entirety.
So my sense would be that is more likely to be the long-term vision, is to bring everything under one umbrella. But I may be wrong, and I suppose it doesn't really matter. At some level it makes sense in both directions. Okay, so we own Steinhoff in the international portfolio. No, not the international portfolio, the overall portfolio. We also own Shoprite as a matter of interest, smaller stake. So are you hot on this one? Do you reckon we should just look through it and keep sailing?
Absolutely.
Okay, that would be my view too. Very talented management team, remember, in the background. Also Christo Visa as a shareholder in these different entities, sort of pulling the strings and making the moves in the background.